What does it mean to be good? It means that you're better than everyone else. No, just kidding, just kidding. No, that's not what it means. But actually, competition is a really helpful thing to have in your life because as humans, we're naturally competitive and that drives us. But that's a topic for another time. Being good means your competition is you. Your only goal is to beat yourself and to be better. And so, by that metric, it means that no matter how bad you are right now, getting good literally just means being less bad. So, if we define getting good as being less bad by improving, by just little small baby steps, then getting good becomes very easy. And if you multiply that by a really long time, years, then you'll be great. You'll be exceptional. You won't just be good because all these little tiny steps that you've taken towards getting better and getting good are going to give you a lot more returns. So first principle that you're going to need to do to get good is to realize that you suck. You need to accept the fact that whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's your 9 to 5, whether it's school, whether it's making content, building a brand, for me it's hosting a podcast, or serving your clients, doing freelancing work, whatever it is, accept the fact that you suck. Just accept that, just accept the fact that, oh, I am bad. I need to work on myself because the output that I'm getting from my input is not up to my standard. And so to accept the fact that you suck basically means that you have to have a high bar. You must have a high bar for what you would perceive as good, as great, right? And so the way you set this bar is by looking at other people, right? This is what I was talking about, where competition is a huge motivator for action, right? So look at other people. Look at the people that you look up to. Think about the people you consume content from and ask yourself what separates you from them. What behaviors do they do? What little nuances do they do in their content or in their business that you don't do? That gives them a competitive advantage over you. And accept the fact that because you aren't at that point, because you don't have that same level of awareness and capacity as them, you suck. You are not good enough. You're not good yet. So first you need to accept that fact that people are better than you, that your competition is always going to be better than you, and that you just need to constantly improve to just get less bad, to suck less, and as a result, you'll get good. So just accept the fact that you're really bad and you're just on a journey to get really good, and realize, and this is a way to reframe it, a really good way to reframe it, is that because you suck, this is the origin story. This is going to be the epic story that you will tell people about your journey to get to this point. So when you're at the position, when you're at your dream outcome, when you've achieved what you've wanted to achieve, you can tell this story of you sucking. You can tell this story to yourself and to other people about what you had to overcome and all the pain that you had to experience to get to the point where you're at. And so the beauty of that is you get to enjoy the sucking. The sucking is actually a good heuristic because it shows you that this is an origin story that you'll get to tell. And because you suck, you can only get better by doing. So regardless of how much you work, regardless of what you work on, if it's somewhat related and directionally somewhat correct, then you will only get better. Your only option is to get better, to get good, because you suck so much. And to get good, you need to look up to the people that are already good, that are already pros, that are already exceptional. And by looking up to them, it helps you further realize that you really do suck because these people are so much better than you. And they have so many competitive advantages compared to you. And so when you accept that fact, when you come to terms with the fact that you suck and that other people are better and that you just need to get better and better and get good, and that this will be your epic story, it's so much easier to get good. So identify what you need to do to get better. Literally write down all the behaviors. So instead of writing down like concepts and theoretical things, write down exact behaviors, things you can do within your business, within your content, within your life, within your relationships, things that you can actually do tangibly that will make you better, that will be good. And a way you can do that is by looking at people that are already winning and assess the behaviors that they do and then put that on the list. You can just reflect, you can ask ChatGPT, you can read books about successful people that are doing what you want to do. You can study them, you can consume their content, yada, yada, yada. The list goes on, and you just want to make a humongous list of behaviors that if you master every single one of them, you will have the identity of someone that is at your dream outcome. You will be like your competition. You'll be better than your competition. You'll be so much better than your competition, right? Because you're not only adopting the behaviors and the identity that they have, but you're also adding in your own twist, your own spice, your own flair. And so you'll be your own unique, authentic self, and you'll be better. So, realize that you suck and figure out how to not suck, but through behaviors that you can do to get better and get good. And then the next key and the big mistake that a lot of people make is that they look at this big list of things they need to do. They listen to podcasts, they watch YouTube videos, and all these gurus and influencers are telling you what to do. Like, even I'm telling you what to do right now. And so they take all this advice in at one time, and then they try to implement it all at one time, and they make 1 inch of progress in 20 different directions. 1 inch. Getting nowhere. But if you want to make a mile of progress, you got to pick 1 or 2 things to focus on. But just pick one thing. Pick one thing on your list of behaviors to get good, to actualize your dream outcome. Pick one of those things and go all in on that thing until you've mastered it, until you've become really good at it, right? Until that behavior becomes second nature. Like brushing your teeth, right? That behavior should become something that is a part of your identity, and you just do it because that's who you are, and you've built the muscle. You've built the muscle to do the thing. So pick one, go all in, and master it. And then you can move on to the next thing. And the cool thing is, when you do these one by one, they stack. And the more, the fatter the stack that you have, the more prepared you are to keep adding stuff onto the stack, because you're more competent, you have more capacity, because you have these behaviors, you have these skills, and it makes the acquisition of more behaviors and more skills even easier. And so this is the flywheel, right? This is the flywheel that I know flywheel is kind of a buzzword that everyone's saying, but it's such a great word, great way to understand this concept. It's where the more you stack up these behaviors and skills, the easier it becomes for you to stack up more, and the better you'll become at an exponential rate, right? And so this is the beginner flatline, sucking and realizing that you suck, realizing that you just need to get better. That is the flatline. But then the more skills you stack, the more behaviors you stack and master, the more you'll be able to see that exponential trajectory as you stack more and more. So that's how people get to such unbelievable levels of success and wealth. It's not through some woo-woo magic affirmations. It's literally by stacking behaviors for a long enough amount of time until they get a fat stack where they start to see exponential growth. Because when you think about what you're doing, when you're building the stack, you're literally just making yourself better at what you do. And so because you're better at what you do, you're fundamentally destroying your competition. You're crushing them. And you're getting better, and you're only getting more and more better at a faster exponential rate that nobody can keep up with you. And it's a flywheel. It's a flywheel of behavior stacking. And at least for me, I've done this with my podcast, right? I've studied every single huge podcaster. I have rewatched every single episode that I've made, and I have noted down the behaviors that I do that are less good and inverted them and found and discovered the core behaviors, the tangible things I can do to get good, to be better, to go pro as a podcaster. So I literally listed them out in Notion, like hundreds of them, all of them, and now I've been working on them one by one. I've been working on each behavior one by one. So one of them was to open up more, to tell more stories about my life. And so when I interview people and they say something vulnerable, I open up as well. I mirror that. I mirror their level of vulnerability. And so I have built the muscle of being more comfortable sharing my story, sharing the way I feel, sharing my emotions. Another thing was looking at the camera, right? I realized that my eye contact would like bounce around everywhere instead of just looking at the camera, making eye contact with the viewer, right? Having that connection. And so I made that a behavior that I wanted to master. So I intentionally focused on like 3 or 4 episodes of the podcast just looking into the camera. I wasn't focusing on the other 50 behaviors that I needed to stack up. I just focused on looking at the camera, and now it's natural for me to just look in the camera when I'm speaking. I'm natural now. Like, I feel more comfortable on camera. I don't feel stupid just talking to a camera. I can just look at the fucking lens and talk. It doesn't feel like this huge difficult thing anymore. It's a muscle. It's automatic. It's a part of my identity. And so you need to build the muscle by stacking these behaviors. And the way you stack the behaviors is by identifying the behaviors, by self-reflecting, figuring out why you suck, looking up to people, looking at your competition, and figuring out why they are better than you, break those down into behaviors that you can tangibly do, and then accept the fact that you suck and just improve. That is how you get good. It's not that complicated. Goodbye.